Thank you, Eric. Just 1 minute, please, while I get prepared. Welcome, everyone, family, friends, former coworkers, and most importantly, Mike. We come to retire Mike, not to praise him, an old saying goes, and to paraphrase a movie line. You is kind, you is smart, and you is important. And you're good looking too. A lot of people wonder how Mike and I met. Well, let's go back. 1993. Mike and I didn't know each other, but it turns out we had kind of parallel lives. Our significant others passed away within 2 months of each other back then. And we went through the usual depression and dating because we had to, but it looks better. Dating looks a lot better from the outside than it does from the inside, doesn't it? We were young, smart, good looking enough, and had successful careers. But we found out pretty quick the old adage that men are pigs, but women sure love pork. So, like I say, we didn't know each other yet, but fast forward after a few years of unsuccessful dating, Mike posted before cell phones, before Match.com. Back in 1997, he put a bulletin, they called them, on AOL. And in that bulletin, in my moving actually, I ran across it right here. I'll tell you what he said. He said that he was looking for someone who is as comfortable in a tuxedo as he is in jeans, someone who's young, smart, good looking, and successful in their career, someone to grow old with, and very rich. Well, maybe I paraphrased some of that, but the point was made, and I handed it over to a friend of mine. I said, what do you think of this? And they said, well, John Bolt, you have to meet him. It's you. Well, come to find out, in many ways it was. I was working in the downtown area and went off 75 home a few miles to where I had my 3-bedroom home and my dog. Back and forth, work, gym, that was about the sum of my life. Meanwhile, Mike was working in the downtown area, going up 35 in that direction, about 3 miles or so, to his 3-bedroom house and his cat, and that was the sum of his life too. Well, we weren't an immediate match. Mike was kind of busy dating, I think, but nonetheless, we got together within the year, had a great time, and we celebrate Princess Diana's passing as the moment that we've been together. He wanted to see Princess die so bad. At 4 o'clock in the morning, I got up and watched the procession of the funeral, and for him it was a love match, so that worked for me. Anyway, we both had, at that point, we were 15 years into our careers. I knew that I was going to be accepted when I realized that mobile had no E at the end of it. It's just M-O-B-I-L. Very important to the ExxonMobil people. Mike worked at Mobil, and while he was there, I'd been at Bound. Fast forward 5 years from Bound, I worked at Vartech Telecom. Mike was at Mobil. I worked at Software Spectrum. Mike was at ExxonMobil at that point. I worked at Trailblazer Health Enterprises. Mike was at ExxonMobil. I worked at Luster National. Mike was at ExxonMobil. I worked at Central Market. Mike was at ExxonMobil. And I worked at the American Airlines Center part-time, which was kind of fun. He was at ExxonMobil. And then I worked at Frito-Lay for 6 years, and he was still at ExxonMobil. So you can tell that he's a stable person. And my career wandered like maybe most people's do. Then in February, 2020 came along, and you know what happened then, COVID. So we both started working from home. For me, it was no problem being in customer service on the phone, but sharing the same bedroom as an office with Mike, who had to work and occasionally talk to people, that wasn't going to work. So he moved down to the dining room where he could keep track of everybody going by and got to know the neighbors' habits. But even that was not any excuse for the office. So after 6 weeks, he got back in the office as soon as he could and away from me during the day, which was fine for both of us. Like I said, he was loyal. He's up at 5 in the morning and out by 5:30. And he was an expert of the parking lot, or parking garage under the building, because he would be there. And it was he always watched people coming and going, knew whose parking spot was there, and always wondered whether Mark Parton was going to be there or not, or if he could beat him. So it turned in to be a little bit of a competition there. And what he didn't realize is that while I think he probably was in cahoots with the security team, that at one point they had Greenpeace come into the building through the roof. So since he was, people asked me what he did, and I don't know exactly, but I do know it had to do with security, safety, the stock market, and some other things. If he told you what he did, he'd have to kill you. But while I didn't know what he did, I know who he did it with. Some of you are here today. One of the best friends and co-workers is Joanna Jones, who we lost today, but her husband Bill is here in her place. Also Linda, Scott, and Suzette. Both are former Exxon employees. By the way, did you meet at work? I think there might be some dirt there. The aforementioned Mark Parton and his wife Renita, who enjoy theater and gourmet food as much or more than we do. We're just thrilled to have a group of friends and co-workers here to enjoy this with us. We went through our shares of loves and losses. We had 5 dogs and a diabetic cat. And Mike is stoic, but you might not know tender-hearted. We've had family and friends passing, including my parents and Mike's mother, Gabi, and his dad recently. And recently, I found a note that Gabi left me that I thought I'd read you now. Gabi said, "Hello, John. Give me a minute. Thank you for taking care of Mike over the years. You are young, smart, good-looking, and successful in your career. Welcome, everyone. Thank you."
Well done, John. I had a moment unmuting myself. What a great speech. And I'm sure that Mike is looking forward